Imagine a future where the Apple Watch breaks free from its decade-long design tradition. Sounds exciting, right? Apple has always been known for innovation, but when it comes to its product lines, there's often tension between staying true to its roots and pushing boundaries. As rumors swirl about what's next for the Apple Watch, we're left wondering, could this be the moment Apple truly shakes things up? And this is the part most people miss. Apple doesn't need to replace what works. It can simply expand its offerings in bold new directions. Let's rewind for a moment. Apple's approach to product development has always followed a fascinating trajectory. It starts small, with a single iconic product, a Mac, an iPhone, an iPad, or an Apple Watch. Over time, however, these product lines evolve into something more intricate. Think back to Steve Jobs' triumphant return to Apple, armed with his famous 4-quadrant grid. He slashed through the chaos of overly complicated product lines like the Performance and simplified everything down to 4 core products. This was a masterstroke at the time, but here's the twist. Jobs' simplification wasn't meant to last forever. Once Apple regained its footing, he knew that growth would require branching out, even if it meant deviating from the grid. Take the G4 Tube or the Xserve, for example. These were products that didn't fit neatly into the original quadrant strategy, but they still found their place in Apple's ecosystem. Similarly, in the years since Jobs' passing, Apple has embraced complexity by offering multiple variations of its flagship devices. Why? Because it makes sense. The more options Apple provides, the more customers it can attract. And now, as we look ahead, it's clear that Apple might take this philosophy even further, especially with the Apple Watch. Consider the iPhone's journey over the past decade. Back in 2014, Apple introduced 2 distinct versions of the iPhone for the first time, the iPhone 6 and the iPhone 6 Plus. This was just the beginning. By 2017, with the launch of the iPhone X, Apple began experimenting with higher price points and cutting-edge features. Suddenly, the idea of a one-size-fits-all iPhone seemed outdated. Instead, Apple started catering to diverse preferences, bigger screens, smaller sizes, premium builds, and budget-friendly alternatives. Today, the lineup includes the Pro, Pro Max, Standard model, and sometimes even a Mini or Plus variant. Some critics argue that this proliferation of models strays too far from Jobs' minimalist vision. But isn't it smarter to give people choices? And here's where it gets controversial. What happens when Apple pushes the envelope even further? Rumors suggest that in the coming years, we'll see iPhones unlike anything we've imagined before. Picture a razor-thin device designed for portability, or a folding iPhone that transforms into a tablet-like experience. Sure, these innovations may come with compromises, reduced battery life, trade-offs in camera quality, or sky-high prices. But they also open doors to entirely new markets. For those who crave the latest and greatest tech, no price tag will seem too steep. Meanwhile, Apple continues to offer plenty of traditional options alongside these experimental models. Ensuring there's something for everyone, the iPad tells a similar story of evolution and differentiation. When Apple launched the iPad Pro years ago, it sparked debates about what a professional iPad should look like. Should it prioritize affordability, or should it showcase bleeding-edge technology? Eventually, Apple struck a balance. The entry-level iPad caters to casual users, schools, and kids, while the iPad Air and iPad Mini appeal to enthusiasts who want more power without breaking the bank. At the top end, the iPad Pro stands as a pinnacle of innovation, boasting specs that rival laptops. By diversifying its iPad lineup, Apple has managed to cater to both everyday users and power users without alienating either group. So what does all of this mean for the Apple Watch? Will it stay the same, or will it get weird? For nearly a decade, the Apple Watch has maintained a consistent design language, a rounded rectangle with interchangeable bands. But why stop there? There's nothing stopping Apple from introducing radically different designs, a round-faced watch perhaps, or a fitness tracker with a minimalistic display. These additions wouldn't necessarily replace the current models. Instead, they'd complement them, appealing to niche audiences who want something different. Here's the million-dollar question. Would such a move risk alienating loyal Apple Watch fans? After all, many users have invested heavily in band collections and are accustomed to the existing form factor. Changing the design could feel like abandoning a decade of brand loyalty, but let's not forget, Apple thrives on calculated risks. If history is any indication, the company knows how to introduce new products without cannibalizing its existing ones. Adding unconventional designs to the Apple Watch lineup could actually strengthen the brand by addressing underserved segments of the market. Ultimately, the future of the Apple Watch, and indeed, all of Apple's product lines, lies in its ability to balance tradition with innovation. Could we see a round Apple Watch in 2026? Or a sleek, fitness-focused companion to the series line? Maybe. Or maybe not. One thing is certain, though. Apple's willingness to experiment and adapt has been key to its success. Do you think Apple should stick to its tried-and-true formulas, or is it time for the company to embrace bold, unconventional ideas? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you think.